everybody. How are we doing tonight? This is Lena with a Especially Made for Me. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to work on a wreath, a spring wreath, using the poof method, and I'm also thinking about adding an additional method to it just to make it more full. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that. And I'm not going to delay it long. I know it might take a little bit to make the wreath, so I'm going to kind of go right through it. I want to show you what supplies you'll need, and then I'll go ahead and adjust the camera so we can get started. So let me move this a little bit further down here so you can see. So we're going to need of course, a wreath form. I like using the metal ones that already have the ties in it. Makes it a little bit easier, but you could also use the regular ones without the ties and get some chenilles and go all the way around with them. And I'll have some videos on showing how to do that later on as well. Of course, we're going to need some mesh, 21-inch, and we're also going to need a 10-inch to do the additional method on top of it, just to make it a little bit more fuller. And I do have a list of supplies on the bottom of the video as well that you can check up and see, kind of check them off, and you can look at the video later to do it if you're not doing it along with me. We're going to need 3 ribbons. We're going to need a 2.5 inch and 1.5 inch. Of course, the colors would depend on your theme. So depending on the theme that you're making and the colors that you would prefer. We're doing a spring wreath right now. Of course, we can vary wreath colors for the spring based on our preferences. So I'm going to be using some purple and some fuchsia today, and I'm going to be adding some lime and some yellow. So that's why my ribbons actually have these colors. And I'm going to pull it out so you can kind of see what we have here. Have this one with the yellow and some teal, and these looks like eggs, but they're actually little balls of different colors. And then we have, of course, the fuchsia in here to tie it in with the fuchsia we'll be using. We have the yellow with the lime green and some of the fuchsia in it already, so we can have that pink coming out and some of the lime and a little bit of white. And then, of course, we have our purple to tie that back in. This is the 1.5 inch. And what I'm going to do is show you how to do the different ribbons for the wreath. And then we're also going to hopefully have some time to do a bow. Now, this that I'm using right now here to kind of put them out of the way is my mesh roller. You don't have to have that. You can just put them to the side and out of your way. I just like having them on there so that way I know what I'm already going to be using. Sorry for the little sound that it's making. So again, 21-inch mesh. We're going to use the 10-inch, and you can alternate your colors depending on the theme. We're going to need the metal wreath frame. You're going to need some scissors and a mesh cutter if you have one, or you could use the scissors to cut. It's not necessary to have it. This is what the cutters look like. I have a Fiskars on there, and I'll make sure that on the bottom of the video I'll have my affiliate links where you could actually purchase these. And we're going to need zip tie, chenille if we're going to get to do a bow, and of course I mentioned scissors earlier. And you may need some wire cutters if your scissors don't cut through the wires, because the different things we'll be working on we may need to be cutting. So other than that, that's all that you would need. Not necessary for you to have a mesh roller, not necessary for you to have a cutting board. As long as you have some scissors, we'll be able to work through the full project. But if you do want to get the tools, you could also do that. And if we have a chance to, depending on time, I did put out some flowers to kind of match with the theme, with the fuchsia and a little bit of the white. It's got some, this one's got some purple spots on it, and then we have the purple one. If we have some time to do that, we'll add that as well. So without further ado, I want to also show you the glue gun. If we do the flowers, we're going to need a glue gun. I just happen to have one that's wireless that has a battery on it. I also pulled the link for that on the bottom of the video. But you can use any glue gun, really. I started out with one from the dollar store some time ago, and I just, eventually just slowly started upgrading. So no need for you to spend a whole lot of money to do this kind of thing. So hope you have all the tools ready to go. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to actually move the camera a bit, and that way we can get to see our project and start working. To make it a little bit more speedy, I'll show you how to make the poofs, and I'm going to move on to one that I already have made here on the background with the poofs to save a little bit of time, because the second mesh that we're going to be using will take a little bit longer, and then you'll be able to play back as you need to. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and make our spring wreath. And we're going to be using the poof method. I'm going to move this other camera out of the way, like so. Hopefully you can see well enough. Do let me know in the comments if you don't. I'm going to try to be looking up to catch the comments as we can. And we're going to get started with this. So we're going to move these things out of the way. We're going to start first with our wreath form. Let me go ahead and move this camera a little bit more out of the way, just to make sure that you can see. Okay, so with our wreath form, of course, we want to make sure we remove the tags, hence the need for scissors. And let's turn it back over. The first thing to do would be to open up all of these stems. We have an inner row and an outer row. So we're going to go ahead and make sure these are all up and going. Hope everyone's doing well this morning. I know it's a little bit cool where I'm at, and I know there's been temporary rain on and off. Hope everybody's having good weather. Hopefully the weekend will be a great weekend with some good weather. We can maybe, if you have a patio, you can do some things outdoors. I know, but everybody might be a little tired of being indoors all the time. Okay, so once we have all of these open, we're ready to roll to start using our mesh and do our poofs. So I'm opening them up to make it easier as we go around. Hope you can see that okay. Keep looking at the camera to make sure I see what you see. All right, so one of the key things here, as a way of giving a tip, is to make sure that your inner ones are kind of pushed in a little bit so they won't be in the way when you start coming in with the mesh. Okay, from here, now we have all of these open, we can start using our mesh and start putting the mesh in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one that I had already started. So I have it here in a roller. If you don't already have it, a roller, again, it's not absolutely necessary to have one. I just use it because with me making these more often, it makes it a little bit easier. I do like to start with a straight line. So if you notice, since this is one that I used before, so it's kind of jagged. When you do your last cut at the end, usually you can't help having some jagged edges because it's at the end and you have everything scrunched in. So when I start one, I like starting straight because that'll be the first poof, and it makes it a little bit easier to kind of make it look better. Just a little better. So we're just going to make a little straight cut here just to make it straight. And then we're going to dispose of that. Okay. Let's bring our wreath form back in to focus. All right, so to make a poof, the way to start is we're going to gather our edges, kind of like scrunching it together at the end. So we're just going to scrunch onto our hand so we can grab the full edge, like so. Okay, so you're just gathering it at the end. Give yourself a couple of inches or so, maybe about 3, so you can have enough room for putting it into the wreath form, and then you could always trim this a little bit better if you need to. Excuse me. So we're gonna, I like starting in the middle of in between. Let me move this way. See, we have 2 stems here. Instead of starting right here, which you definitely can, you could also start in the middle and tie it there and then do your poof. For this video, to make it a little bit faster and to show you the method, I'm going to start right at the chenille stem. Okay, and what we do is just put it on position right in between the 2, and we're just going to basically do a twist. So we're going to pull apart to make it tight and twist. Okay, and I'll show you that again because we have to go all the way around. So you would gather about 3 to 4 inches of poof, depending on how big, of the mesh rather, depending on how big you want your poofs to be. On your wreath form, you could even use a small 14-inch, and if you make the poofs bigger, it makes your wreath look, of course, a lot larger without having to go through the expense of getting a 24-inch wreath form, for example. So that's just another tip there, just to kind of make things look a little bit bigger without having to go through the extra expense. So for your poof, you're going to go about 3 to 4 inches. You could eyeball it. If you have a measuring board, of course you can measure it. If you have a ruler, you can measure it that way. I just kind of eyeball it. And what you do is just kind of gather it, and you're going to go to that next stem set. Okay, and we're going to go right in the middle and do the same thing we did at the beginning. Okay, we're going to pull apart so we can tighten it and do one little twist. That makes it stay in place. Here's our first poof. We're just going to go ahead and open it up. And we're ready for the next one. And we're going to do that all the way around. Okay, grab your mesh. Do your eyeball measurement or your ruler measurement and do the same thing again. Okay, we're going to put it in the middle in between the two, pull apart to tighten it, and twist to keep it in place. And then we're going to open up our poof. Okay. And again, we're going to go all the way around. I'm using what I call a remnant. I actually made a full one already that I'm going to pull on in to finish it off once I show you these few steps all the way around. And that's what I'm using now, so that's why it looks kind of small. I still have the new one here. Just wanted to use what I had left over. Okay, we're going to open our poof. Do the same thing again. Go to the middle of the next set of stems. Okay. Pull and twist and open up our poof. Going all the way around. And if you notice, they're not all exactly the same size. That is okay. So if yours are not coming out exactly the same, again, you don't have to measure. You could eyeball it. I promise you it'll still look just fine by the time we're done with the wreath. There's really no rules. And this is one of the things that makes this easy. There's no actual rules for making the wreaths. And mesh is very forgiving rather. So you really can't go wrong with anything that you do. And if there's any spots towards the end where you might need to do some fillers and things like that, that's something that's easily fixable. So no worries. Okay. So you may be able to see that the mesh that I had left over is about running out. No worries there. Again, I do have one that's already full and ready to go. Just wanted to kind of show you that process so you'll know how to make the poof. Okay, we're going to continue to gather and make our poof and go on to the next set of stems. Same process. We're going to twist, pull, and twist. Open up our poof. And go to the next one. I'm actually all the way at the end right now. Let's see. So this is where we started. See, with starting right there in the middle of that chenille, you can see where you started and ended. If we were to start in the middle and tie it off with a chenille stem or a zip tie, for example, we will be going right over that, so it would cover it, and we will be coming here, so it'll be covered. So that's the tip I was mentioning earlier. You could do either or. Again, there's no guidelines, I mean no rules. So no wrong way of doing that. It's all based on your preference. All right. So normally, of course, we would still have mesh left over. What we would do at this point is come up to the inner circle with a poof and do the same thing. We would tie it off here. I'm going to show you that. Basically, you would come in and tie it off. Same way. Pull and twist and then open up your poof. And then you would do your inner circle the same way. Okay? So I'm going to show you what that looks like because I already have one made. And I'll work on this one later. Let me go ahead and do a trade here. Voila! That was fast, wasn't it? Now I have it all full and ready to go. So this is what it will look like when you're done doing the outer and the inner circle. And on the back, see, it looks very clean when we do it the way that I just showed you. Okay? Now this is our purple and it's got the glittery lines. Sorry, I couldn't come up with the word. But this is it. So what we're going to do now is add more color and more fullness. I like my wreaths to be very full. I've done some that are not as full because they're being used for a certain purpose, like for a centerpiece, because you don't want it to be too full to where you can't put anything in the middle, like a candle or something of that nature, or if, you know, to use it in a location where you might need to be a little bit more compact. But when it's going to be for a door or hanging on a wall, or if you're going to have a big corner piece that you need a centerpiece for, you could also use wreaths for that. So I'm going to make this one really full, and I want to make sure we add more colors. So when you already do a poof method on something, as you can see, it's almost pretty full as it is, and then we could add ribbons and flowers and different embellishments. What I'm going to show you from here is how to add an additional color without having to do yet another poof method, because then it gets kind of tall and huge if you do poof on top of poof, unless you do a zigzag method, which I would show that as well on another video. So this is what we're going to do. So that 10-inch mesh that I mentioned earlier, I already have here. Let me move this out of the way. It's here on my mesh roller. So what we're going to do is cut our mesh at 30 inches. Now we do 30 inches when we're doing just this method that I'm going to show you, which is a ruffle method. But because we already have the poof method on here, we're going to go down to 20. So I'm going to just put it here on my board and get my mesh cutter. And we're going to go to that 20-inch mark and we're going to cut. Now before you normally do any kind of cutting, you want to make sure you know how many you need to cut. Usually for these wreath frames, you have 10 chenille stems all the way around on the outer circle and 8 on the inner circle. So that would be a total of 18. Now I already cut some up and I have it here to the side of me, but I wanted to show you how to do the cutting of the mesh. And I know I only need 3 more, so I just did 1. This will be my number 2. And this will be my last one, which is perfect. Okay. Could always put something down here so you can pull it all the way and it won't roll on you. These actually tend to get a little bit more curlier the closer it gets to the end. So it's nice to be able to have something near to be able to weigh it down. Okay, cutting at 20 inches. Alright, so now we have our 18, and here we go with remnants. I will also have another video showing how to use different remnants. So that's why I always save these and use them for something else. Okay. Gonna put that out of the way. Okay. So we're gonna need our wreath form. Okay. I'm gonna move it a little bit over so I can show you. Okay, so we're gonna grab the mesh we just cut. Now I'm using the fuchsia pink right now. We're gonna, the side that actually rolls, we're gonna put it face down. Okay, and you can use, again, anything that would hold it down if it's getting in your way. I'm gonna use my phone for now. And what we're going to do here is use the ruffle method. We're going to put it face down. We're going to go to the middle with our thumb. And we're going to just basically scrunch it and walk it. Just to do like a little ruffle. Okay? And it should look like almost like a butterfly or wings. And once we put it there, it'll look like a flower once we put it on here. So we're going to go to the same middle of those stems where we put the poof and tie it off. We're going to put one right in the middle and do the same thing to lock it in. Okay? And we could go ahead and get it opened up. On the top and on the bottom. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so there's our fuchsia. And we're going to go all the way around doing the same thing, top and bottom. Okay. Again, you could put something to hold it down, or you could go straight from there. We're going to just put our thumbs right in the middle so we can scrunch. And we're going to ruffle. Okay, go into the middle of our chenelles, our stems, pull apart, twist, and we're going to open that up. Now another way of doing this, and this is the way I normally do it to kind of save on time, because I like doing multiple things. We call that the lean thing at work. But I guess I've always done that and didn't even know that it had a name, being lean. You could do the ruffling, and if you have something else to hold it down, you can have your ribbons already cut. You can do the ribbons and do everything all in one step, and you'll see what I mean once I do the ribbon, and I might actually show you right after this one. So we're going to go right to our middle with our thumbs, scrunch and gather. We have our ruffle. Go into the next stem, right in the middle, grab, pull, twist, and we're going to open this up. Move this little ribbon out of the way there. There we go. Okay. So I mentioned about doing everything at once. So I'm going to show you what I meant by that. And you can continue ruffling if you like. I'm going to use, I have a bow dabber that I like to use for when I do the combo steps. So that's, let me put it more in focus so you can see that. Let me get my ribbons. Okay, so when we're doing the ribbons on the wreath, I like alternating the different ribbons. So we know we already have 10 on the bottom, 10 and 8 on the inner. So outer circle, inner circle. So you will need 18 sets of whatever combination of your ribbons. Normally I cut them at 12 inches, so that way we can have enough of a length to do tails all throughout. Just adds more body and more color, and as I like to call it, oomph to the wreath. So again, we have, we have a ribbon that already has the different colors in here. We have the lime, a little teal with the lime and pink, different size balls in it, and we have the fuchsia. This one has some yellow with that same lime green and some fuchsia green already mixed in it with some white. So this one was really cute. And we have the purple. So these are 2.5 inches. This one's 1.5. So what I'm going to do is actually cut. I want this one to be my main one. So I'm going to cut 18 pieces of this one. And then I want these two to be my secondary one. So I'm going to do half and half. Okay? I'm going to put those to the side and get my scissors. Now there's another wonderful thing out there called Perfect Tails, which I'm going to be upgrading to be able to do this quicker. You can do a ruler, you can use your measuring board and measure the 12 inches. I made this out of cardboard, and I used put some duct tape on it just so that it'll last longer, maybe a little bit sturdier. And I measured it to 6 inches because if you go the way around once and twice, there's your 12 inches. And on the other side, I did it 5 inches because sometimes I make smaller wreaths. So that way it will be a 10 inch if we go the way around. So I only put the measurement on one side, that way I would know where my starting point is. And let me see if I can get that a little bit closer to the camera so you can see that. Okay, so this is what I do with that. On at 12 inches, I'm going to go by this 6 inch side. And you just put it up on the top. This will be your top. And go around. Now that's 12 inches, so that's one ribbon tail already. We need 18. So there's my one with the numbers facing up. I do not have the numbers facing on the other side. That way I know where my top is, and it makes it easier to count them. So that was the 1, 2, and this is why I usually put them in the roller, because it gets kind of tangled up. And I'm going to do 3 just so I can show you what I mean, since I have to alternate the colors, and then we'll continue from there. And then what you do is just put the scissors through and cut on the top of it. And I always like to do my little dovetail, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So once you have your ribbons, you would fold them in half. Your pretty side, where you have all your print and all the pretty colors, should be on the top, on the outside. See, it's not the same. You don't see the little balls on that side. So that goes towards the inside. Fold it in half. And you're going to cut diagonally. And you're going to go towards that edge, that little point. Okay? And I'm not throwing that on the floor. I promise. I have a trash can under the table. Okay, so we're going to do that again. We're going to fold it in and cut diagonally. And there's your dovetail. Okay, let's get this one out of the way. And we'll cut some more here in a little bit. Alright, so we have 3 of that one. I'm going to do the same with this one, and then we'll cut the rest of them when we're going to be finishing up. And I'm actually going to put it back in here so I can, oops, sorry about that, folks. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to use the same process, just going to leave it on the roller to make it easier. And you could use those paper towel holders to do the same thing. So again, doesn't have to be something expensive as a tool. So here we go, same thing. We're gonna go with the 6 inch side. We have 1, 2, and 3. And of course, when we do this, we want to make sure we cut enough to go the way around our wreath. But I want to show you what I meant by doing more than one step at once. And if you pre-cut everything that you're going to need ahead of time, it makes it so much easier as well. It goes a little bit faster, which is why I was wanting to go to the one that I had already finished on for my base. With the wreath form and the mesh, the original, we call that a starter or your base, because that's what you're going to start with, but of course you're going to add more to it. So if you're doing that for selling, you could also sell it that way as a base or a starter for someone else to finish it. You know, that they may want to get it that way. That way they can have something to work on later and be able to pick how they would like it, what colors they want to add to it. Okay, and here's the 1.5. This one's in purple. I was looking at the video feed earlier and it almost looks like it's a blue, but I promise it's a very deep purple. And this ribbon has like a foil on it, so it's very shiny, glittery, but it's actually purple. In the video it might look a little bit blue. Same thing for the mesh. It's purple, so these two actually are pretty much the same. They have that glittery look. Okay, so we have one. Going by our number, that will be number 2 and number 3. And we're going to cut right at the top. And now we have 12-inch ribbons. We're going to do our tail. It's always good to do a tail for these. Just gives it that finished look, makes it look so much nicer. See how quick and easy it is to do that tail. From the outside to the edge, right to the point, diagonally cutting, gives you that dovetail. Okay, so I cut a little bit of each so I can show you what I meant earlier by doing things. Let's get these out of the way. Okay, so let's say now we have our ribbons. I mentioned about alternating before, so I wanted this one to be the main one, or these two. So you can alternate these. Okay, we have that one. Well, now that one has the yellow, but it doesn't have the purple. So we're going to go to the purple. And there's our alternating. So when we go on the actual wreath, we're going to be alternating that so we can spotlight all of the ribbons. So we're going to be going back and forth. That's why I said we would need 18 of these. But we'll need about half of each of these of the other ones. Okay, so we've got to do a little bit of math when you do it that way, but it's all good, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to put these to the side. And then if you want to add more purple to it, you could also alternate the yellow with the purple. Okay, so now we have the one with the 3 colors and the purple, the 3 colors and the yellow, and then the yellow with the purple. Now if you notice with the purple, since it's smaller, it's 1.5 inch and this one's 3 inch, you always want to put the smaller ones on top because you don't want to completely hide them once you put them on the wreath. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our step all together instead of doing it separate so you can see what that means. This is a bodabra. You don't necessarily have to have that. Anything that would hold everything together for you, like another hand, would work, or something that you can put on it to keep it, put some weight on it. So back to what we were doing before with the ruffle. We're going to go to the middle with the thumbs, scrunch it, and we're going to walk it up as we're scrunching. This is called the ruffle. Okay. Almost looks like wings, butterfly, even a flower, depending on how you put it on the actual wreath form. And we're just going to put it here, put our middle right in between on the bodabra. And you could even open it right here so that it'll be open. Then you're going to grab your ribbons, whichever way you're going to start. And I'm going to actually start with these two with the multiple colors, with my main one on top. What you're going to do is actually find your middle. So I like folding it in half just so I know where my middle is at. Very important because that's where you will need to scrunch it, pinch it, whichever way you like to say that. You want to always know where your middle is at. And of course you could shape it so that way it'll have some curl to it. You could use the scissors, your hands, whatever you're comfortable with. And we're going to put that in the middle. So now we have our set of what we're going to put on the wreath. Okay, and we're going to grab that up. And now we save, instead of having to do all of that separately, we have it all done. Same process, we're going to pull and twist. And now we just get to fluff it and round it off and open up our ribbons. For the ribbons, you can decide if you want to have one on the top and one on the bottom, like so. And of course curl it. You could also put both of them to the top and then the other 2 to the bottom. Again, it's a matter of preference. You could do either or. I am going to interchange them just so that we can have the play of the colors all the way around. If you know you're not going to add anything else, you could go ahead and fold these in and tuck them under, or you can cut them down. Again, preference depending on what you're going to be planning for that. Okay. Going to alternate now to the brown, not brown, purple and yellow. And see, with before we just did our ruffle by itself, so then that means we would have to either open this up if you're planning on adding more to it, so that way you're not using too much of the stem, which then you run the risk of this getting loose. Okay, so if you open it up, you could do that and then put that in the middle like we did at the other one. And that is why I like doing it all at once, because then you're opening and closing things and it just takes more time. But I like showing both because, again, it's all a matter of preference. Okay, we're going to put it right in the middle again. Pull and twist. Okay. And then we play with the ribbon and the mesh to make sure everything matches. Okay. Okay. And there we go. So once you go all the way around, you're going to have them just matching throughout. And even though they're not exactly in the same position because it's the same colors, it'll look great, I promise. So I'm going to put this out of the way again. And we're going to continue. I grabbed 2. To these, you could also add a bow, depending on the time. You can make a bow to add to it. If you have a sign, you could add to that. Or you can leave it, since we're doing both a poof and a ruffle on this wreath, it's going to make it full and it's going to be, you know, add the colors for just to add that little oomph. So you won't necessarily need to do either. So we'll probably, just for sake of time, leave it simple. And then on another video I'll show you about making the bow to add to it, or adding a sign, or even the flowers that I have here to the side. Just again, there's no right or wrong, there's just different things that you can do with mesh and with ribbon. No rules. That's what makes it so fun. You can do whatever. And either way you go, it makes it look pretty. Glad you're here with me today. I do try to do a live once a week on Fridays at 8, so hopefully you'll be able to continue to join me. Please don't forget, while you're here, to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It'll make it easier for finding any other tutorials as we go along. I'll be adding more and uploading some videos as well, just to make sure there's a little bit of everything. Arts and crafts of things that I do. Okay, we're going to find our stems, go to the middle, pull and twist, and we're going to open up our ruffle. And what I like about doing the ruffles, you know, if you want to mix more than one ruffle color, I do have that. I don't know if you can see that behind me, but you could also mix other color ruffles just to kind of add more levels to it and more colors. And it makes it look like flowers. I like to kind of make sure that they're pushing each other up so that way they'll stand up. Makes it look like flowers. Okay, we're gathering, making our ruffle. Going to our stem, pull and twist. That'll keep it in place because it'll be tight. And then we're gonna adjust our ruffle to make sure it goes all the way around that stem and go to the next one. And then once we go all the way around on the outer circle on the outside, we're gonna go to the inner circle and do the same thing. And then we can play with the ribbons and add them in. I wanted to show you the process earlier because you may have someone there with you that may be helping. Maybe they could be cutting the ribbons while you do the mesh, and so on. Alrighty, so we've gone all the way around on the outer circle. We're going to start on the inside. Find our stems, go to the middle. We're going to pull apart and twist to make it nice and tight. And again, adjust our ruffle to make sure it goes all the way around and there's no opening. So it'll look like a flower. And again, these the fuchsia ones that I'm using that we cut, they're cut at 20 inches. If you were to put another one on top, you will cut them a little bit smaller. If you want to use like a different color to add to it. Like I was seriously thinking about adding that lime and doing another mesh, but the more mesh you add, of course, the more fuller and bulky you may get. So it depends on the look that you're looking for. Let go. There we go. And we want to make sure we pull these to where they're not against each other. We want to pull them up so that way they're standing alone. So again, making a spring wreath, we use the poof method for our base, which is the purple color. And now we're adding a splash of color, the fuchsia, using the ruffle method. Okay, pulling and twisting once and adjusting our ruffle to make that nice little round shape, our flower. Okay, don't see any comments coming through. Guess we don't have any questions. Another good idea with cutting these ahead, since you would already know how many stems you have or chenilles on your wreath. When you get to the end, if you happen to have ribbons left or mesh left, normally that means we've skipped a stem. And it's easy to do because of all the mesh, you know, it can hide these. That's why I said earlier, if you're not exactly measuring everything, it's okay because it's very forgiving and you won't be able to notice, just like the stems hide. Excuse me. And doing the mesh, or the wreath rather, using this method gives you so many different options for any season, any occasion really. Just gotta change up your colors in the mesh. Could also use a neutral color on the bottom, like a tan color, just to use as a filler. And then use your main color on the top of that, based on what embellishments you're going to use. Like if you have a sign and it has some tan in it, that will be perfect, because it'll just play off of the sign. Okay, looks like we do have one more, and I do have one more left from what we cut earlier. Okay. Gonna pull and twist and work on our ruffle. Make sure that it's going all the way around. And that we have the ones next to it, just not one under it or one on the top. We want to make sure they're not overlapping. Same thing with the top and bottom. So we've gone all the way around on the outer and the inner circle. And now we can start with our ribbons, which we started down here. Okay? So before continuing, I'm going to go ahead and cut the ribbons. Oh, look at here. We have a manufacturer defect there. Okay. I'm going to cut that. And that could have easily been disguised, but I don't like having that on there. So I'm just going to put that to the side as a remnant and cut some more. So we already did 3. I want to make sure we have 18 of this one. We want it all the way around since it's got all the colors. And we could even do 9 and 9 since we have that other 2.5. So we'll do that. We'll alternate them. See. So that will make it 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Make sure that you can see that on the video. Okay. And we're going to cut on the top. And again, this is just a piece of cardboard that I measured. You know, as you get different things that come in the mail or even from things you buy from the grocery store, and then measure it out. If you need a 12-inch ribbon, measure it to 6, because then going all the way around, if you go both sides, it'll give you the 12 inches. And what I did was, since I also use other sizes, I have another one that's bigger for the 14-inch one, but you could do the 5. I think I did 3 of that one as well, so I'm going to do 6 more. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Going to cut the ribbon. again, just in case anyone joined later, how to do the dovetail. So for the dovetail, the key is if you have a ribbon that's not the same on both sides, make sure your pretty side, the one that may have the print, is on top. You're going to fold that because you want that to be on the outside and you want to match the corners. Okay, so your pretty side should be on the outside, and then you have matching the corner. You're going to cut diagonally from the outside to the corner, and of course the more you go this way and match diagonally, the bigger your dovetail is going to be, but we don't want it to be too deep. We just want it to show on the ribbon for when we put it on the wreath, and then when you cut, you have your dovetail. Same thing on the other end. Alrighty. So there's our 18. So that would mean we definitely would need 18 of these because it's 9 and 9. That will cover our 18. So if we're going to be alternating with this one instead, however we switch it, then we definitely need 18 of this one. Still undecided on that though. I always do that. I kind of bring out the supplies I want to use for something, and then I may change my mind as I go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, 6. There we go. 7. 8, 9. It's getting a little thick, so I think I'm going to stop there so I'll be able to cut through. Okay. Same thing with the dovetailing. Make sure you have your ribbon all even, as even as possible. If not, match it with the shorter end. I'm going to fold in half and cut diagonally to where our corner is at to get our dovetail. Alright, let's kind of play and see, then we'll cut more ribbon. I want to be able to see it, and we can eyeball it. Maybe you can help me decide and put it on the comments if you prefer. Excuse me. So let's see where we ended up at. Again, no rules. Okay, so we have yellow with the lime and the fuchsia, and then we have our fuchsia with the teal and the lime and pink fuchsia color in the middle with the ball, and the lime on the edge. And then on this one we have our yellow and the purple. And I think just by looking at that, we might need to alternate the purple with the bigger ones. Let's see. So we have yellow there. We're going to use our multiple color one with the purple, and that's what it would look like. Let me turn it over a little bit more. Or we could alternate it the other way. So we'll play along. I think what I'm going to do for now, since we already have the 2 2.5s there, and then we just have the yellow, I'm going to do the 2 again and then alternate with the pink we'll see what that looks like. It's fun to play around and kind of see what they look like. Again, there's no rules, based on your preference, what you like, how you like to alternate it. I'm hoping to do a group soon on Facebook where you could join me, a private group, and then we could play together and do a design. We'll see about that. In the meantime, please join me on Facebook. Just follow me there as you do on YouTube. You'll get to see some of the lives on Facebook as well. Okay, so now we gotta add our purple back in. Just alternating just so that we can have the different ribbons. And since we have the purple as the base, adding the purple ribbon kind of brings back out some of that purple. Okay, and since I had this one already, see with the one with the 3 different colors, going to the top, that's how I decide which one I want to the top or the bottom. So now I don't want it to be the same top and it's coming together right there. I'm going to put that one towards the bottom and put the purple up, and then do the opposite on this end. That way we can see all of the colors. Okay, going back to yellow. Now I'm going to put the yellow on top because we have the one with the 3 colors on this one. So again, just alternating so we can mix and match, but still have all of them on the wreath and have all the different colors, because it's spring. We want to be able to see all the colors. And here all I'm doing is just giving the ribbon some curl, but you could always curl it once you have it on the mesh, on the wreath. Again, twisting, going around, deciding which way I want my ribbons to face. And since these are wired, I prefer wire ribbons for that reason. You can shape them up and twist them and curl them. Makes it so much easier, and they pretty much stay put. Okay, we're gonna put our ribbons one on top of the other, fold to find our middle. That way we know where to scrunch and pinch it, because this middle is what we match with the middle of our stems here that we use to tighten it. That way it can be as even as possible. Does it have to be exact every time? No, because again, doing a wreath with mesh is very forgiving. Okay, looks like we don't have that much to go to finish the outer circle. Okay, found our middle. I'm going to pinch it and curl our ribbon. Or again, you could curl it once you have it on your mesh, on your wreath with the mesh. Okay, and again, just try to mix and match the ribbon. So if you have yellow going towards the bottom there, just make the yellow go to the top, just to spread the colors around. Let's see, so we go with yellow and purple. Add some purple back in. think I'm liking it just as it is. Because I don't think we need as much of the purple since we have so much of the purple as our base. We just wanted to add a little spot of the purple to make sure we still saw some purple. Looks like just one more and we'll be able to work on our middle. The inner circle. Okay, twisting so it'll be nice and tight. Make sure our ribbon curls and spread them out, and we've gone all the way around. So we did just enough ribbons for the outer circle for the outside. Now we can work on our middle. So we know our middle, we have 8. I'm just going to alternate it the same way. So I'm going to just put 4 purple to the side. Okay. Let's get some more ribbon. I'm doing the opposite way this time because I don't want that ribbon to keep getting stuck over there. Let's work on our dovetails. We're going to fold in, pretty side, printed side on the outside. We're going to go diagonally towards our corner. Same thing on the other side. So we'll get these out the way. I'm going to cut an extra one. I use that for a bow later. We'll see. Not sure we'll make a bow for this one this time around, but we could make a bow later, a matching bow, and then we could decide if we want to use it for the wreath or for putting it on a pillar or maybe even a present for someone. Or just to dress up the door or the mailbox. Okay. Getting tools out of the way. Let's move that ribbon out of the way. Okay, so we're going to start on our center. So when we start with our center or inner circle, we want to see where the ribbons are, so we'll know which one to start with. So depending on where you're going to start, you're going to do the opposite, so that way we can make sure we mix and match. So we don't want to do the yellow in this case. Let me go this way. See how we have yellow and purple here? Then we'll definitely, out here, we don't want to do the yellow and purple. We want to do the other. So we want to make sure we have one of these, even if we still have the yellow. But that way we can have that additional pop of color that's not on the bottom. And then we'll go all the way around just like we did on the bottom or outer circle. We're going to find our middle. We're going to scrunch it, pinch it, shape our ribbon if we want to shape it right then and there. And then we're going to put it in between our chenille so we can tie it on in there. So we're just going to pull in opposite directions to make it tight, and we're going to twist. And then we want to spread our ribbon. Since we have yellow at the bottom, I'm going to put the yellow towards the top or towards the inside. And there we go. You can do the crisscross, or if you like, you can make the same colors come down and up. You can mix and match it that way as well. So many different things you can do. Excuse me. Okay, so I did so now I'm going to do purple with this one. I'm going to alternate it the other way, just to give it more of that lime and fuchsia on top. Okay, I'm going to find our middle, scrunch it, pinch it, shape it. Find our stem right on the center, pull apart and twist. And we're going to do the opposite. Since I already have the trio color here, I'm going to put that one towards the bottom and put my purple up. And then do the opposite color on this side. Okay, back to our yellow. Okay, I'm gonna do something different again, I think. Nah, we'll leave it. Okay, let's do the yellow on top this time. And you see how even with mixing and matching, so to speak, mix match, it still looks good, just mixing all the colors. Especially with spring, you know, it's nice to have all sorts of different colors play together. I'm gonna open this one. Okay. I'm going to pull to tighten and twist. And another thing you could do while you're doing this is actually tuck in your stems if you're not going to be using them for adding anything else in. If you're going to be gluing something on them like the flowers, or if you're going to leave it as is with just the ribbons, as you put the ribbons on, you can go ahead and start folding that out of the way and tucking it in. Just saves another step. Lean, lean, lean. Okay, going back to our purple. And I think I did the trio with the purple, so now I'm going to do yellow with the purple. Okay, find our middle. So we can pinch and scrunch. Scrunch, pinch, and we're going to shape. Oops, almost skipped one. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing, pull and twist, and then as I'm there, I'm going to go ahead and tuck it in. Okay, back to our trio color. With the yellow, I'm going to put the 3 colors on top since we have yellow right next to it. Find our middle, scrunch and pinch. Going to shape our ribbon, find our stem, pull and twist. And position our ribbons. like about 3 more to go, and I do have the extra I cut, but I need some more. So let's see, 3. We'll have to count better next time. Guess I forgot how to count. Okay. Get to our middle. Okay, and let's do some dovetails again. Practice, practice. Alrighty. Finding our middle, scrunch and pinch, and then we're going to shape our ribbon. Okay, grab that pinch center, find your middle in between the stems. So we're going to open them up, and then we're going to go around to pull and twist. They'll be nice and tight. And then just tuck them under if you're not going to be putting anything else that you'll need to tie in there. Okay, going to position our ribbons the way we want them. And go to our next position. Okay, ribbons on top of each other. Going to fold and match the tips so we can get our middle. Scrunch, pinch, we're going to shape, same thing here, we're going to get our chenille, our stems, pull tight and twist, and we can start tucking in if we want, and we're going to position our ribbons. One more, we're going to use some purple, and let's see, decisions. I think I'm going to go with this one. Okay, hope you're liking this tutorial. If you are, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, invite friends and family to do the same, or maybe watch me live next time if they would like to do that before subscribing. I'll be back on Friday at 8 p.m. Central. Could also follow me on Facebook. And if you've seen things you like, go ahead and recommend. That will be a big help. Share and like. That's what we have so far. Okay, so we have purples with the glitter. We have the shimmer ribbon to match the purple on our base, which you can see some on the inside. We have our fuchsia colors. We have our yellow with the lime and the fuchsia in it. And then we have the other ribbon that has the lime, the fuchsia, and the teal. And on the inside of that teal, it's got little balls to match that fuchsia and the lime. So from here, this could be the finished product. But again, you could also do a bow, to put a bow, an additional bow on the bottom or on the side, depending on what angle you want to use. You could also do a sign in the middle. So that's a lot of different things that you can do. You could do one or the other, or do both, depending on how much you want to add to your wreath and how how big you want it, how fluffy you want it. Again, all based on your preference. But this could be a finished product right here. So on another video, I will show some ways to do the bows and to do additional signs to add to a wreath, and we'll do the full process together. Let me know if any questions. If you like it, again, give me thumbs up. Follow me on Facebook, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, and that way you'll know of any other tutorials that'll be coming on live. And please do give me some comments, send me some, message me if any questions. That there is a survey added to the video as well towards the end that you can let me know as we go. If you'd like to maybe learn more about making different kinds of bows or another wreath, or if you'd like to learn how to do a swag and different things, so just let me know, and we'll make sure that we'll try to show those things that you want to learn. But I so thank you, so appreciative of you joining me today, learning how to make a spring wreath. Again, just mix matching colors using 2 different methods, and we'll be hopefully be together again next week so we can learn some other things that we can add on and do different things in different methods. And you have a wonderful day. Again, thank you for joining me. I had especially made for me.